What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel. I am Ken, here today to review and unbox the latest 4K edition of Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds, the latest release from Universal Pictures. So this came out this week, and of course The Birds was already released in 4K last September with the Alfred Hitchcock collection. I did not get a chance to watch it when I bought that collection. I watched Psycho, I watched Vertigo, but I didn't get a chance to get around to this. So I thought I would take this opportunity with this Steelbook releasing to go ahead and watch this in 4K and then just do an all-in-one unboxing and review, because it's been forever since I've seen this movie and I wanted to watch it and talk about it with you guys here today. But before we get into it, guys, I want to ask that if you are not yet a subscriber of the Mid-Level Media channel, hit that subscribe button. I do all kinds of great content focusing mostly on the world of physical media. I do weekly physical media updates called the Physical Media Report. I do Blu-ray hunts every single Tuesday where I go into stores and show you all the latest releases. I do 4K reviews, I do Blu-ray reviews, I do Dollar Tree, Dollar General hunts, just all kinds of great content on this channel, collection video updates, all kinds of physical media content. So if you like Blu-rays, if you like 4Ks, hit that subscribe button. Also, be sure to like this video, guys. Every single like will help this channel out and help it grow. And also, comment down below. What do you think of the film The Birds? Is it one of your favorite Hitchcock films? What do you think of this 4K transfer? What do you think of this Steelbook? Because this is an awesome Steelbook right here. Let me know all of that in the comment section below. So let's go ahead and get into it, guys. And like always, I review these by breaking down the movie itself, by talking about the packaging, the visual quality of the 4K transfer, the audio quality, and also going into the special features. So like I said, I have not seen The Birds since I was a kid. So growing up, I didn't know of Hitchcock's expansive filmography. Like, I pretty much only knew him for directing Psycho, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. Probably the first horror movie I ever sat down and watched as a kid, and The Birds. So I watched Psycho and The Birds all the time as a kid, and that's pretty much what I knew Hitchcock for. I wasn't familiar with Rear Window, Vertigo, all of his other films until I got a little bit older. So Birds was always a childhood favorite of mine. I remember the movie scaring me when I was a kid. So what was it like going back and revisiting this all these years later? I have to be a little bit honest with you all. This movie is a little goofy. It's a little cheesy. It's not as good as I remember it being. I still enjoyed it just for what it was and for it kind of being the prelude for what they would go on to talk about in the special features. But like, Steven Spielberg took heavy influence from this movie, taking animals and things in nature and turning them into the monster, the natural elements, and making them the monster instead of the traditional like Frankenstein or Dracula. So I appreciate it for being like the first of its kind, but to be honest, like, birds just aren't very scary. And there's a couple of scenes where they can be in this movie, but a lot of the scenes felt a little goofy to me. Like when they were swooping into attack and just kind of pecking. It is kind of scary to think about birds, like if you were outside and all the birds came at you and started attacking, but it didn't come off the best in the film. I think what really sells it and the bird attacks, is the actors in this movie and just how well they sell the fear, because I think that everybody in this movie does a fantastic job at selling that fear of the birds before they attack. You know, you had Tippi Hedren, who was a model before this film, and as we all know, Alfred Hitchcock loves his blonde models, putting them in his movies, but she was not an actress. She was not a trained actress going in this film, and I think for not being a trained actress and for this being like her first movie, like, she was fantastic in this movie. There's several scenes where she does such an excellent job at showcasing that fear and just being afraid of those birds. In particular, I love the scene at the end where they're carrying her out of the house, and she already got attacked up in the attic, and she's just so fearful, and you can just see that in her face when they're bringing her out, and she does such a great job at selling that in that moment. And then there's a scene where she's outside the school and she's smoking, and she kind of looks away, and there's a couple of birds, and then she looks back and there's like 7 birds, and then she looks away again, she looks back and there's like 1,000 of them. That's a great scene in and of itself, but the way she sells that in that moment is absolutely fantastic. So I thought that Tippi Hedren did an awesome job in this movie. You also got Rod Taylor. He does a really great job in the movie. Jessica Tandy is also in this, you know, from Fried Green Tomatoes and Driving Miss Daisy is what I know her from in her later career. But she's fantastic. She's like the mother-in-law character. But getting into just what my big negative of this film is it's way longer than I think it needs to be. You really don't get into like the bird action until like hour 2. And before that, it's like this big kind of romance, drama, love triangle thing. She's driving up to Bungalow Bay. She met Rod Taylor's character at the beginning of the film in the bird shop. He bought a couple birds. She's delivering them to him. And it's kind of like this romance thing between the two of them. And then there's this other woman involved. It's just a bunch of plot. It's just way too plot heavy for me, especially for this type of film. It's like a creature feature. Just get into the birds attacks. And yeah, I just really wasn't engaged in this story. I love the setting in this movie, like this little coastal town with I just thought everything was well done as far as the setting. Everything just looked really cool. Most of this movie takes place outside. The effects were pretty groundbreaking for the time, I think. Yeah, it's easy to look at this and be like, that looks cheesy and that looks really bad, especially when you consider like today's effects and the standards of today. It doesn't exactly hold up to that. But then if you just kind of transport yourself back to that time period and realize that this was made almost 60 years ago, like the stuff that they were able to do with like showing the birds in the air and just them coming down to attack is actually pretty well done. And I think of that scene where the bird's coming at her when she's in the phone booth, and that it's easy to look at that and be like, that looks really bad. But honestly, I think it actually looks pretty damn good for the time period and just what they were able to pull off in that moment. So I think the effects are really well done in this movie across the board. So like I said, I don't think this is the classic that a lot of people might hold it up to be. It's definitely not top tier Hitchcock. It's not on the level of Psycho or Rear Window or Vertigo. Definitely a little bit more schlocky B-movie in nature. But yeah, I did enjoy this movie overall, and I'll give it a 3.5 out of a 5 for the actual movie. So let's get into the actual packaging, guys, because this Steelbook is one of my favorites of the year, and I feel like I've said that numerous times this year. This year's been a fantastic year for Steelbooks. I just love the artwork on that. That's the original poster artwork with all of like the background taken out, and it's just kind of put on this white background, which I love. I just love the white of this Steelbook. You got the Birds logo at the top. I love, you got this on the Psycho Steelbook, but I love the silhouette of Hitchcock with the birds coming down right there as well. So all of that looks super cool. And one thing that I'll point out with this is in comparison of the Psycho release, so you got your disc art on here, but you also got disc art on the Blu-ray, which is the same as the cover of the Steelbook. So that's really cool. So the packaging, guys, is top notch here. This is a matte finish on the Steelbook. Nothing's embossed or anything, but it's just, to me, this is one of the best Steelbook designs of the year. Absolutely love it. So while I don't think it's better than Psycho as far as the movie, like the Steelbook to me is better than the Psycho Steelbook that came out this week, even though I do like that one quite a bit as well. So awesome packaging on this one. The visuals, guys, to me, this is like a top tier transfer. Absolutely stunning. I thought this looked fantastic. And I know a lot of people's fear going into this was that the 4K would actually take away from some of the bird attacks and just make them look worse. You would notice more of the flaws. To me, it actually enhanced those scenes and made them look better. And that's actually why I think I was able to enjoy those bird attack scenes even better, because they looked fantastic. So this is presented in HDR, so you get all the coloring. I think of all the women with their red lipsticks and just a really good facial definition in this one. Now, I did think it looked a little bit better in the night scenes than it did in the daytime, but overall just crystal clear, and I thought this looked almost immaculate. So the visuals were fantastic in this. So as for the audio, I know a lot of people are going to be disappointed, but this does not support Dolby Atmos. It is a DTS HD audio mix. So I don't know why they didn't do the Atmos. You would think that, you know, I just run a sound bar, so it doesn't really matter to me at this point, but you would think that with this and just all the swooping of the birds and stuff like that would just lend itself so well to a Dolby Atmos track. So it's a little puzzling as to why they didn't include the Atmos in this, but maybe down the line we'll get the Atmos release. I still thought it sounded great across the board. It's just something that needs to be noted for those of you all who haven't purchased this and are kind of looking for Atmos in your 4K releases. But the special features, guys, across the board, they're all pretty great. They're all from previous releases. All of these are in the Alfred Hitchcock collection that came out last year, and most of these are from previous Blu-ray releases. So nothing really new here as far as I could tell, but they are some really good special features overall. So at the end of the day, guys, this at Target right now, make sure if you're going to purchase this, you purchase it at Target. It is $19.99. At Best Buy, it's $22.99. So for $19.99, just for this Steelbook alone, I would recommend this. And then you get the transfer of the film, the great audio, the special features, all the extra additives in this collection. I would say this is absolutely worth it for 20 bucks. I recommend that you buy it right now. Even if you already have the Alfred Hitchcock collection. If you don't have the Alfred Hitchcock collection, then definitely buy this right now. But yeah, I love this Steelbook. It's one of the best Steelbooks. I absolutely recommend that you give this one a shot. But with that, guys, we are done with this review of The Birds on 4K, the Steelbook version. So let me know in the comment section below, what do you think of this film? Like I said, is it one of your favorite Hitchcock films? Like this video, guys. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Turn on those bell notifications for all of those future videos, and we'll see you next time.